Hi guys. Um, I'm gonna try to make this a real quick and to the point video. It's disturbing because it's scary. So I was listening to just really scrolling on TikTok. I really didn't even mean to be on there and stay as long as I did, but I happened to come across this live that this woman was doing. I don't follow her, don't know her, didn't know anyone on the panel, anything like that. These were all pretty much very young people. I would say Gen Zers and millennials. Some of the millennials were older, 40, whatever, which is actually good. But they were having a discussion about white supremacy, systematic racism, oppression, all of this. And when I came into the live, like I said, I didn't get on the panel, I'm in the comments, I'm just listening. But when I came into the live, there was a 21-year-old white guy, and he was trying to basically prove that Black people are not oppressed. Black people and actually, what else he was trying to prove is that certain things that Black people do today and the way things are set up is actually racist toward white people. And we know that this is a bait and switch that white people have been trying to do. They want to cover up their racism. They want to lie about their racism. They want to lie about history. They want to keep critical race theory out of the mix. They want to hide and suppress history. This is not new with this critical race theory thing. It has been a thing. It's been a thing. Um, and the point that I want to bring out though is that you can go across uh, you can go across TikTok and find a lot of discussions like that. Now, normally, and maybe it's my algorithm, normally you're getting normally and also this is also usually coming from other white content creators whose aim is to hold their people accountable. This was a young Black woman who was holding this particular live, and the amount and let me say this first before I go in. I really love Gen Zers. I really do. I love what they're doing. You can see what they're doing, like literally all across the board. I think they are strong. I think they have a strong voice. I think they are making a lot of changes and are going to continue making a lot of changes, and that's across the board. So, but of course, with anything, I also have my criticisms. And one of the criticisms that I have with especially Gen Z or some millennials, but especially Gen Zers, is that they are so freaking angry. They it's like I think they came here angry. And I'm not saying that it's not valid, it's not legitimate. I get it. I know and I can see as a Gen X woman every reason that they are angry. But I think the problem is that they let their anger shut down reason and shut down like everything else. So many of them get to a point to where they just want to overtalk you, don't want to listen, don't want to hear it. I'm right. This is what this was, and yeah, whatever. And it's just like it's sad because I'm sitting here watching this young 21-year-old white guy literally hand the asses of these Gen Z Black kids. And as I said, it's sad because you could tell this young man was seething with racism. You can tell that he was a very, very good talker. He was a very good speaker. He was very articulate. He knew a lot. And with the angles that he was coming from, I'm sitting in the back listening. I'm like I said, I'm Gen X. Now I could have shut down every damn thing he was saying. But I'm sitting here listening to these young black people, Gen Zers, talking about, I mean, they were literally agreeing with him that there is no oppression, there is no systematic oppression, and we don't see it, and this and that, and yeah, well, that was back in the 60s, and what happened during racism, that's not our time. And I find that is the problem. I got a daughter that's Gen Z. And just like them, my daughter don't know a damn thing about black history. And it's sad because I am her mother. I am her mother. And as much as I know, much like them, she doesn't listen. I would be afraid, literally afraid, to have my daughter try to have a conversation and stand up for black people and racism and systematic racism and oppression and the historical things that have gone on with our people, because she don't know. They don't know. And I mean, I'm literally sitting here seething because this young racist ass little white guy was literally sitting here handing the asses to all these black kids, and the reason is because they don't know history. They literally don't know. Now, finally, I moved away from that because it was really ridiculous. It was really sad. And with the attitude that, oh, well, we don't care, and that happened before, and all, that happened a long time ago, literally sounding just like the white racist white guy. I had to move away from that. So I went away, did a couple things, came back. Then by the time I came back to that live, there was some older black people who thankfully was making some very valid points. They were One guy was talking about black farmers and so forth, and that whole history of that. And so many of these young, literally black women were just challenging him. Well, how do you know that? How does it affect us? Well, if it don't really affect us, I don't really see how that's a problem. He brought up the fact that it was actually two very, very intelligent black men who were older millennials. And they were talking about even the what is that? Affirmative action, and how it has benefited more white women. And the other stat that I really didn't know, honestly, I'll admit that, was gay white men, because they get to fall into the minority category. And so these are things that I guess my generation as Gen X, and of course those before, we know that we knew these things, we see these things. And I think the problem is that so many Gen Zers are literally, in my opinion, they're really just benefiting off of the marches. They're benefiting off of the water hoses and the dogs biting people, and the black people going to jail, and all of the suppression and things that have changed. Now they're living under that, and so they don't see it. And it's sad when they're sitting here agreeing with these racist white people that, yeah, well, you're kind of right, yeah, you're right, it ain't really the same, and it ain't. The thing that they don't know and understand is that their ignorance, not knowing, is going to eventually, God, I hope this don't be the case. But I can see them eventually going right back into some goddamn oppression. And it makes me wonder, with still, in my opinion, way too many black men trying to vote for Trump, like, that's a part of it. They don't know and understand racism enough, and systematic racism, and the things that white people did to us, and things that are not even documented that they did to white people, to black people, black towns, laws, and all of these things that was a thing. And many of these things are still on the books. Do you hear Trump talking about bringing back laws from 1786 or some shit like that? They don't even know what that shit is. They don't know where we were. And it's scary to me because it's like they are going to, it's like they're going to make us go right back into more oppressive bullshit because they don't know or understand or give a damn about history. And they just want to label things, oh, well, that's just old. And, yeah, well, that happened in the 60s. And what, there was this one, I hate to talk about Black women, but this young woman was so freaking ignorant. She was in her 20s. She didn't know anything. She had no statistical data. The guys were giving her information and telling her, and all she did was argue and not listen. Literally. There and everybody I'm in the comments just having like literally my arms are flailing. I'm literally just having a fit because I'm trying to ask her the shit that she's talking about and saying that is not a big deal and it hasn't happened and all of this. I'm like, where is your proof? You're just arguing about everything. Where is your freaking proof that what you're saying is right? She wouldn't read. They telling her and citing sources for her to go to and look at this and read. You can see for yourself this happened. Oh, but no, well, you got it. You got it. You smart. You read it. You read it. And what's sad about that is the fact that, first of all, it's just ignorant to say. But the other part that's sad is that when you read things for yourself, then you get your own understanding. Somebody can read some shit and tell you anything. This is how white oppression and white systematic racism can continue to affect us because you ain't even going to go and listen to stuff. You just want to argue about stuff. You're not going to go to the sources that people are telling you historical facts and how things have happened. They're literally arguing that Black farmers didn't get oppressed and and oh well, who said that that happened? And well, if the Black farmers finally won, then what's the problem? And it's just like, but you don't, you know, I wasn't in that time per se either. I wasn't in the 60s marches. I wasn't in the fifth. I wasn't even born yet. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I still know. I still know my history. I've still taken time to read. It wasn't like I didn't get bit by no dog. I didn't get no water hose sprayed on me. I'm gonna be very, very honest. I ain't even really been called a nigger that much in my life. I'm gonna be honest. But that don't mean it didn't happen. That don't mean it's not significant. That doesn't mean it's not relevant. And it doesn't mean that you don't need to learn about your freaking oppressor. But they don't see white people as oppressor. There was a biracial girl up there, and I've heard these arguments from biracial people before that, oh, because they have a white parent or whatever, they're on both sides. So she was acknowledging, and this is not the same young lady, but she was acknowledging some racist stuff, and yes, some of that stuff happened. But then she gets up on the panel. First of all, you could tell she didn't know anything. I think she said she was 25 or something. I don't remember. But she gets up on the panel and start talking about, oh, well, there's Black people who are racist toward toward us biracials. And it's just like, first of all, what does that have to do with anything? Second of all, that's colorism, ma'am. That's we need to deal with that shit in our own community. We talking right now about white people. And there's oppression upon our people for decades and centuries. Why are you getting up on the panel talking about Black people racist against you too? Like, the point of this video is that we got to learn. Our younger generation got to learn. You guys are living off of the benefits of a lot of Black people who died, who were murdered, who were lynched, who whose history, and so many of them, their stories haven't even been told. Do y'all know how many black people and so forth are being unalive down in the South right now? Do y'all know about sundown towns and how that shit is still going on? Like, just because y'all are feel like you free and you can get up and go and do whatever you want and I can live anywhere and I gotta it's white people all the time are trying to take us back and hide information, hide laws, put stuff in little bylaws of certain shit and not make it look racist, while on the back end they asses are being very racist. Do y'all really think that just because there's not a law for it, or that there is a law for it, that white people are going to abide by that shit when they want to be racist? Do y'all really believe that? It's one of those things like, oh, well, I don't see it. It ain't in my face, so it must not be happening. That's how they get you. That's how they've always gotten us. It's sad. It's sad to see. It's sad to hear the ignorance. It's just sad because they're just angry and they just want to argue and they just want to lash out and they just wanted to, oh, well, y'all did. This girl literally said, this girl literally said, with no proof, no evidence, and everybody is asking her, where is your proof? This girl literally said that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, who she said was black people's leaders, which have been appointed to black people as leaders or whatever, not even accounting for all of the other black leaders that we have had, but that Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson knew full well that marching and doing all the things that they have done, and I guess still do, but have done at that time, was going to allow white women and these white gay men to get those privileges. They knew it and they just sold us out. And it was just like a one big conspiracy. And everybody trying to figure out how do you come to that? Oh, well, it's on Google, and oh, and you can look on YouTube and you can see what's happening right now. It's scary because they won't learn. And it's scary because they're just living off the back of the privileges that have been given to them. And it's sad because they don't seem like they care. They just want to argue. That is my problem with Gen Z. That is my problem. I think many of them are great, wonderful, smart, educated young people. But the anger and the not knowing history, not knowing our struggle, that's the shit that I am so afraid is going to one day lead their asses right back into some oppressive shit. And they don't see it because they don't know their oppressor. That's the problem. They don't know. White people do this shit from the ground up. White people ain't never stopped doing this. And that's what it seems like their understanding is, like, oh, well, that was back then, that happened then, it ain't like that no more. And now white people are good, white people are friends, white people, they don't mean us no harm, and this and I'm not saying that all of them do. I'm not saying that, but there's a lot of white people who helped during the civil rights movement. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that all you got to do is look at what's happening in this election. All you got to do is look at this MAGA shit. All you got to do is look at all of the little. Trump ain't even in office, and racism is every freaking where. Everybody, like, white people are so freaking emboldened right now when he just the opportunity, or just the idea of him running again and possibly winning. Do you see how bold they are? Did y'all see the young black man walking through his own freaking neighborhood, getting stopped and almost shot at by a white guy because they didn't want him there? That's the reason you need to know history. Young black girl then got she was arrested. This was in Detroit, I think. This girl, 14 years old, she arguing with a white woman. They got, it's like five cops around this young 14-year-old black girl. And they got her in handcuffs talking to the police, which, first of all, was against the fucking law. And I'm sorry, y'all, for cussing. But then the white woman is over there talking to one female cop, just giving her story. No handcuffs or anything. Black girl handcuffed. There was another one, 14-year-old black boy. Got in trouble with with a freaking Karen. Karen put her hands on him first. He pushed her back, which I'm happy he did. I do not agree with men hitting women and all of that shit, but in that case, I'm glad he did. And he had witnesses that all gave the same story, that all gave the same account of what she did to him, and she got her ass arrested. But y'all don't understand. This is the stuff that has been happening. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think really where that I've seen in this time before George Floyd, white people really wasn't getting in trouble. If this was another day and time, that white cop, well, I forgot his name, that did that too, that got convicted for George Floyd or whatever. That particular guy, and I know he wasn't the only one, but that particular guy, there was a day and time not long ago where he wouldn't have got arrested. He'd have did that shit no well. And this is what I'm afraid these young people are going to get back into, or have to go back into, to understand white people and white racist people and the systematic racism and racism in general. Like they're really living in la la land, that because they don't see it, and because they can go to any college, they can go to any school. Do y'all know that literally systematically there's still school segregation? No, they don't know that. They don't know it because they're going to school with white people. Oh, we can do what we want. We can have what we want. Y'all really don't understand. If y'all let Trump get elected, and y'all let MAGA take control, and this whole Project 2025 and all of this bullshit, that y'all really have no idea how bad it was. I don't even have an idea of how bad it was. I've only read the history. I've only heard about and seen, like, on TV and stuff, like a lot of them. And yeah, I'm Gen Z, but I didn't go Gen X, but I didn't go through any of that stuff. So it is like not very, it didn't touch me either in that way. But these Gen Zs today, and some of the younger millennials, seem like they act like racism and the historical people and things that happened, and the way that they happened was like a story. It's almost like they approach it like Disney characters or some shit. Like, a lot of this stuff really didn't happen because they are so detached from it. And but it's sad when you have those young people literally siding with young races. Like, literally, like I said, this young white boy was literally having the it was only like a couple, two or three of them up there, and most of them were women. And it's really sad because you would think that the women would be a little bit more educated, but they were not. And this guy was literally having the two of them. Oh, well, yeah, I guess you're right. Oh, yeah, I guess when you put it like that, yeah, that's true, that's it. And I'm just like, oh my freaking god, are you serious? This little dude was seething with freaking racism. Even the way he was posing the questions was indicative of him saying that y'all ain't never been oppressed, y'all don't deserve shit, and we're oppressed too as white people. And they sitting up here, oh yeah, yeah, I guess you're right, kind of, when you look at it like, and it's just like, and all they did when these older millennial black men got up there and was spitting facts and was giving proof and was citing books and citing sources, all they continued to do was yell and scream and talk over them and don't have any proof on their own. None. It's like they were trying to make the freaking white people's case. that we ain't never been oppressed. We okay now. We good now. That was old. That was then. And we don't live under that no more. You know, as I close this video, I'm going to say this. There's a saying that when you forget the past, you are destined to repeat it. And that's scary for me as a Gen Z woman going eventually into my later years and all of that. Like that shit is scary. Like, what the hell are we going to go into when we have these Gen Zers and shit who don't know shit in control? This scares me to have them to have them in control of the world. This is really scary for me to even think about. But you guys, let me know. Give me your opinion. What do you think? I mean, do y'all think that we've gotten to a point to where we need to forget about racism and there's no systematic racism and white people are oppressed too, and white people didn't really mean to do all of the stuff that they did to us and everything? I mean, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Are y'all like the Gen Zers and some of these younger millennials where, well, that don't matter no more? Or do y'all think we probably need to keep our foot and our eyes on the oppressors and the colonizers and those who are actually making these freaking laws, and on MAGA and on Trump and 2020 Project 2025? Like, do y'all think we need to keep an eye on this stuff? Or we just going on and walk off into la la land? You guys, thank you for listening and watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit all notifications so that you'll know when I upload new videos. You guys, until the next video, see you next time.